There are 9 Titans in Attack on Titan, each with their own abilities and attributes that make them unique, but they are not all created equally. Today we are going to be determining which are the strongest and which are the weakest, so let's get into it. But first, be sure to subscribe. We are inching so close to 1,000 subscribers, and if everyone who watches this video subscribed, I'm sure we would get there. So I would really appreciate it if you would just scroll down and hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out and it would really mean a lot to me. When assessing the 9 Titans, there were 3 main criteria I took into account: Titan versus Titan combat, Titan versus human combat, and utility. Titan versus Titan combat is how well the Titan would do against other shifters. Titan versus human combat is how well they do against normal humans and their technology, such as thunder spears or anti-Titan riflery. Utility is abilities that are not directly useful in combat, but are still instrumental to the Titan, such as the Colossal Titan's explosion, the cart's endurance, those kind of things. I should also note that we will only be using what we see in the show to grade the strength of the Titans. This is because I want to try to avoid theoretical scenarios surrounding the Titans as much as possible. It's much more reliable to use the show as a reference than thinking about what could happen. But there are a couple of times that theoreticals are important to assessing the Titan, and I will bring those up when we get to them. So without further ado, let's get started with number 9. The weakest Titan, in my opinion, is the Armored Titan. To be honest, I just think that the Armored Titan is a bit outdated. As technology has progressed, its armor has become more and more redundant. Both people on the island of Paradise and around the world have created weaponry that can easily destroy the armor. On top of this, its armor is less hard than most Titan shifters' hardening, meaning that it does pretty badly against humans and Titans. We've seen the Armored Titan lose almost every fight it gets into throughout the show. Even as far back as season 2, it was struggling against an attack Titan with no hardening abilities. And I think part of this is just, Reiner being an incompetent shifter, but I also think that the reason that the Armored Titan loses as much as it does is because it is falling behind the technological curve earlier than the other Titans. Let's move on to number 8. Where we have the Jaw Titan. The Jaw Titan is an interesting case. On paper, it sounds pretty good. It's fast and small, allowing it to act as a very aggressive unit. It has sharp claws and an even sharper jaw, both of which are able to damage Titan crystals. But the Jaw Titan has quite a few flaws as well. First of all, while its small size allows it to maneuver quickly around other Titans, that attribute is not exclusive to it, as the Cart Titan also has a very high mobility. Its smaller size also leads to it getting tossed around by many larger Titans, including medium-sized pure Titans given the opportunity. Another drawback to the Jaw Titan is its quadrupedal nature. While being quadrupedal is not inherently a bad trait, it's not great for the Jaw Titan, as it forces the Titan to rely on all 4 of its limbs while in combat. As we saw in the raid on Liberio, losing even one of these limbs can put it in a very compromising position. Being quadrupedal also means the shifter is more directly exposed to opposing Titans. Bipedal Titans have the advantage of the shifter sitting in the back of the neck, which is a much more defensive position as it is away from the opposing Titan. However, because the Jaw Titan is more horizontal and low to the ground, it is in a much more vulnerable position. All in all, I think the Jaw Titan has some major flaws for an aggressive Titan, and I don't think it does well in anything other than combat against humans off of the island. And I don't think that one aspect is enough for it to get above 8th. Next, at number 7, we have the Beast Titan. The Beast Titan is extremely hard to rank, because the quality of the Titan greatly depends on the animal it gets. This also brings in an element of unpredictability, which is part of why it's so hard to rank. With an animal like a monkey, an ant, an alligator even, it could be as good as like a 5th place Titan. But with an animal like a lamb, a sparrow, a butterfly, it would undoubtedly be 9th. So I think the best course of action was to average them and place it at 7th. I don't think Zeke's Beast Titan is worse than 5th or 6th, but Tom's Lamb was definitely worse than the Armored Titan. This is one of those exceptions that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, as it's almost impossible to rank the Beast Titan without talking about the possible spectrum of animals it could be, and it is the unpredictability and wide range of this spectrum that has it placed at 7th. Moving on to number 6, we have the Cart Titan. I'm sure a lot of people are surprised to see the Cart Titan this high on the list, but hear me out. The Cart Titan is one of the most adaptable Titans in the show, as it has the ability to excel in Titan combat, human combat, and utility. For human combat, it has the machine gun gear, which allows it to defeat humans at a range without putting itself in too much danger. In Titan combat, it has the ability to take down some of the strongest Titans from afar with the anti-Titan artillery. And even while wearing this anti-Titan weaponry, it still does decently in human combat, as its users can carry weapons of their own for their defense. There are also a few advantages in Titan combat that are manga exclusive as well, so we'll be talking about those in a bit with a warning beforehand. But where it really shines is its utility. The Cart Titan is able to stay as the Cart Titan for up to months at a time. This endurance is unmatched by any other Titan in the show, and it makes it an exceptional recon unit, especially when paired with the ability to talk and mobility. This is where being quadrupedal is a much larger asset, as it gives it more stability and versatility while doing recon. I also feel like the Cart Titan is among the least likely to be surpassed by technological advances, as it just has the ability to put those advances on its back. I totally understand if you don't think the Cart Titan should be this high, and if you think it should be lower, be sure to let me know where it should be in the comments down below. I'd love to see where everybody puts the Titans in their own ranking. We're now going to move on to some manga spoilers for the Cart Titan, so if you're an anime only, feel free to skip to the next chapter. Here we go. Alright, so the combat abilities I am talking about are obviously the ones that are featured in 136. As we see, the Cart Titan has the ability to eject its user, which is something no other Titan can do. On top of this, it also has the ability to transform many times in a row, up to over 100 as Pieck claims. These two abilities also work in conjunction with its strong bite, as it is able to chomp through hardened Titan skin with ease. I think these three abilities in conjunction with each other really make this a strong offensive Titan, as it also gives the Cart Titan even more versatility. All in all, I think the Cart Titan is consistently underrated when people talk about the 9 Titans. It has so much potential, and it often meets that potential, unlike a lot of other Titans. Coming in at number 5, we have the Attack Titan. There's a fair gap between the Attack Titan and the Cart Titan, and I think it's obvious why. The Attack Titan is the Titan we see the most throughout the show, and it is consistently a powerhouse. It is capable of taking down many of the Titans below it and giving trouble to many of the Titans above it. It excels in Titan versus Titan combat, but we don't get to see very much of it in terms of Titan versus human combat. I think it could do okay against humans, but it's hard to tell, as we don't know if the Attack Titan can harden the nape of its neck. The Attack Titan obviously has the ability to send memories back in time as well, but I don't think this really relates to its strength in any way. It's really just an above average 15 meter tall Titan, and thus its ability to perform well is dependent on its shifter. Coming in at number 4, we have the Female Titan. The distance between the Attack Titan and the Female Titan is almost non-existent. I came really close to putting them at a tie, but I think there are a few things that allow the Female Titan to edge out the Attack Titan by a tiny bit. The main difference comes down to their hardening. The Female Titan clearly has the ability to harden multiple parts of its body. We've seen it harden its forearms, its elbows, its neck, and I think even its legs. It can also harden these parts of its body much faster than the Attack Titan can, as we've seen the Female Titan summon hardening in what seems like an instant. The Attack Titan does not have this attribute, as every time we see it use hardening, it takes a decent amount of time. The same can be said for other Titans that have hardening. I think this ability to harden very quickly is a huge advantage for the Female Titan, as it adds another level of versatility on an already versatile Titan. The Female Titan also has the ability to call pure Titans to it, but I really don't think that will give it any huge advantage at this point, so I didn't give it much weight when ranking. Like I said earlier, the Female Titan and the Attack Titan are very close in ranking, but I do think the Female Titan has a slight advantage in hardening. We're now going to be moving on to the top 3. I think there's a fair bit of distance between the top 3 and the rest of the 9 Titans, as even the third best Titan, the Warhammer Titan, has many advantages over the previous 6. The Warhammer Titan's defining feature is its ability to create weapons out of hardening. This is a huge benefit to it, as it gives the Titan a range advantage against other Titans. Pretty much every Titan below it would struggle to close the space between them, as getting closer to it comes with the inherent risk of getting dismembered by its weaponry. It's basically like when you're playing a fighting game and the opponent has some huge disjointed hitboxes that get in the way of your own attacks. This means it can prevent other Titans from even getting in range to hurt it, most of the time. It also has the ability to create hardened spikes as well and summon them from underground at a range. On top of this, its entire body is covered in hardened Titan skin, and it can put its user in a Titan crystal as well, giving them unbreakable protection most of the time. It's basically like the Armored Titan's cooler older brother. However, there are 2 major drawbacks to the Warhammer Titan. First of all, it takes a lot of energy to create these weapons, and if the pod gets separated from the rest of the body, it cannot create a new Titan. This is a huge drawback, as it's not exactly hard to tell where the pod is due to its power cord. It also seems to have limited healing capabilities, as the most experienced user we saw never healed the wounds created by Mikasa. The other major drawback it has is its speed. Due to the weapons it wields, it seems like the Titan is pretty slow overall. Don't get me wrong, these drawbacks do not outweigh the advantages. It's the 3rd strongest Titan, of course it's going to have more advantages than disadvantages. And there is definitely a gap between the Warhammer Titan and the female Titan. But there is also a gap between the Warhammer Titan and the Titan at number 2. And who is at number 2, you ask? It's the Colossal Titan, of course. I'm sure the order of these last 2 is no surprise at all, but let's go over why I think the Colossal Titan is a decent bit better than the Warhammer Titan. Remember when I said the Warhammer Titan's greatest advantage was its range? Well, the Colossal Titan kind of destroys that advantage due to its size. At about 4 times the height, the Colossal Titan has a range advantage over every other Titan there is. And while the Colossal Titan is quite slow, so is the Warhammer Titan. And almost every other Titan can't even attempt to fight the Colossal Titan because it's just too big. The only other Titan that I think could actually have an advantage over the Colossal Titan is actually the Jaw Titan. This is because it could probably scurry up its leg or something, just like a giant rat, you know? The Colossal Titan also does quite well against humans, as its steam emission prevents any attacks from thunder spears or blades. We don't know how anti-Titan artillery would do against the Colossal, but it could be effective. We just have no evidence to back that up. Oh yeah, and on top of these advantages, it also creates an enormous explosion when it transforms. If the Colossal Titan's shifter can transform before any of the other shifters, it just wins. The explosive transformation is also a huge utility, as it is something that opponents have to keep in mind when in combat against the faction holding the Colossal Titan. I think the Colossal Titan is an obvious choice for second best, and I think the choice for best is just as obvious. The Founding Titan just has some abilities that put it on another level, as it's able to create pure Titans from Eldians at will, change the anatomy of Eldians at will, has the ability to control any Eldians at will. It's basically a god of Eldians. And on top of that, it also has the ability to control the rumbling, which is probably the most powerful action in the Attack on Titan universe. On top of this, the Founding Titan can have a size advantage as well, as Eren's Titan is multiple times larger than the Colossal Titans, and Ymir's Founding Titan appears to tower over enormous trees as well. There's really no Titan that can hold a candle to the Founding Titan, since it can just tell them to stop fighting. And there's really no human that can oppose it either, as the people most likely to defeat it are the people of Paradise, who are under the Founder's control. I think putting the Founding Titan at number 1 is very obvious, but I think it's because it's the only place it belongs. And that's my list. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to let me know what your ranking is in the comments down below. And while you're down there, why don't you just hit the subscribe button as well. Thank you again for watching. It really does mean a lot if you can make it all the way to the end of the video like this, especially if you do it on multiple videos. Words cannot describe how much it means to me that you do that. Anyway, I'll be back on Monday. See you then.